All right, so, the podcast everybody's been waiting for. Elden Ring, Kirby. Nah, Kirby. They play Elden Ring. We play Kirby.
That's right. We did. Someday we'll get to Elden Ring, but it wasn't our
Maybe.
time.
No.
It was time for Kirby in the Forgotten Land.
I needed a 10 to 15 hour romp through happiness. I didn't need to be tortured.
That's right.
Life's been tough, man.
So welcome to Low 5 Gaming, another episode for you all. My name is Alex, my co-host Luke.
Hey.
Also my brother.
Sure.
Buddy.
Still needs to be proven. No tests actually done, but for all we know, for sure.
Companion in gaming.
All right.
What else we got for you?
That was a lot.
Disc golf partner sometimes.
I wish. I wish.
But so welcome to Low 5 Gaming Podcast, where we hang out, talk a little bit about the games we played for the month, or at a specific game that we played for that month, and at the end we get to some of the other shit we've been playing around with.
Yeah, I mean it's Kirby time, man. We sucked up some podcast headphones to get the abilities,
Yeah.
and we'll give you a mouthful mode.
Here we go. Kirby in the Forgotten Land, man. So this game, I don't remember when Nintendo announced it exactly. I remember being like, "This is gonna be cool. I'm into it."
Can I tell you an awful joke?
Yeah, let's go.
It's just better.
Yeah.
Than being professional. There's those huge balls at Target that are meant to stop people from driving into Targets.
Bollards. Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that their name?
Yeah.
Cool. Did you see the designs of people that put the Kirby designs over them?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I made a joke when walking with my wife that I was gonna put my dick toward it, and I was like, "It's gonna have to go mouthful mode on this one." And that's the dumbest, cheesiest, just dumb, gross joke ever.
Did you laugh?
I had to explain what mouthful mode was first,
Good, great.
and how the thing is so big that Kirby doesn't actually consume it; it just kind of wraps around it, which is
So it wasn't the best joke.
For
know your
me,
audience.
it was delightful. It gave myself a little giggle. So
Well, we just made a penis joke, so we are now officially a gaming podcast.
there we are. Very, very mature, breaking stereotypes about gaming. So I apologize, but just a really dumb, cheesy joke right in front of me there. And,
Have you? Do you
those
follow?
things are cute though. When
They are
put
cool.
them, yeah.
Do you follow or have you seen Quit the Build? The guy that does Quit the Build.
No, sir.
He's got a TikTok and he does. I think he's got a podcast and he has some other content on the internet. But he's got
Sure.
a great. He does these great little. It's almost like he's doing karaoke, but it's like they're just clowning you. You got to look it up.
Okay.
He does like this Kirby ball thing that's really great. That kind of blew up.
Are you on TikTok now?
Dude, I've been on TikTok.
Okay, secret stealth TikTok.
Yeah, I did start
TikTok.
posting some low 5 content
Oh, wow.
to TikTok, so you can catch us there. You
Alex
can catch us
does the
on Instagram.
Renegade and other dances with his amiibos.
Yeah, you know it. So if you're curious what that looks like, check us out on the TikTok.
Oh man, that sounds...
TikTok's all right, man. So Instagram's
sure.
it's gone so.
It's a great way to take a poop, from what I understand. So.
For sure, dude. I don't know. I have I don't even want to call it love-hate, dude. Like my relationship with TikTok is annoying because of my professional life. I do a lot of social media management, etc. And
Sure.
man, I don't need another thing on my plate. So when TikTok came
Yeah.
around, I was like, no.
Yeah.
But with all things, if I want to keep getting paid, I got to learn it.
Yeah, no, TikTok, they get sent to me, and they're usually pretty funny when they are sent to me.
They can be.
They're just on Reddit now. You'll see
Oh,
this
yeah,
was
totally.
a TikTok video, and you're like, well, even if you wanted to, you're not going to avoid the content.
Sure.
I'll find you.
It is interesting. But yeah, we're not here to talk about TikTok. We're here to talk about Kirby.
Kirby's. What's up,
Kirby in the Forgotten Land.
I've always loved Kirby.
Yeah. What's up with that, though? What do you think? What makes you love Kirby so much?
I mean, it's such stinking cute.
He
and
is,
with
but
most Nintendo
she,
stuff,
who knows?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Kirby is Kirby.
Kirby
is
is
a
a
Kirby. Destroyer of worlds. A lot of hilarious dark lore on Kirby being just
Dude.
like this evil, all-consuming object. So it's just like a fun, meant to be like just a goofy mascot and cute.
Dude, speaking of the internet, sorry, I'm going back to the
right
socials.
back.
I was like, I beat Forgotten Land the other day. Prior to that, I had thrown it way back. Before we started playing this game, I did a playthrough of Kirby's Dream Land or whatever, the first one that came out the first ever one that came out for Game Boy, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that was a lot of fun. But I was just thinking about that, and I was thinking about the 2 and how far the Kirby franchise has come. Since
Not very.
Well, I mean, actually, yeah, it's come a long ways, dude. The first game, you don't even get copy abilities. So,
I suppose.
and the graphics and all that shit. But it was funny. I was just like, so I found myself in an internet, like, just looking up Kirby shit, and I found the commercial that Nintendo put out for Kirby's Dream Land. And dude, It's like this cursed white blob that like
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. It's clowning. You
Come a long way, I
you can
suppose.
check out that reel on
Yeah.
Lo5 Gaming's Instagram and TikTok.
But it took like 30 years for them to go to 3D, so also not too much change.
I know. So
But
this Kirby's been around for a while, dude.
fun Smash
Is
character.
it 35 years now? Is this the 35th year?
I think so.
I think so. I think the internet's a little
That
upset
neighborhood.
that Nintendo didn't give. I think Kirby's gotten at least a nod for 35, whereas like Zelda, they were like, no, I'm not going to give you any love.
Well, they acknowledged
The
it.
Game
and
and
they
Watch
did
thing, I
Skyward
guess.
Sword. And
Yeah, that's
Game
true.
and Watch,
But they
so-
didn't attach that to an anniversary.
They didn't do the whole Mario thing, but
Right.
Mario's Mario. But yeah, Kirby. Blockbuster Days got what I think is Kirby 64 or whatever the one on 64 was.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the first games I ever beat,
Oh, was it?
like on my own.
I've been dabbling in that one too. I've been kind of
No
playing a bunch of these
watching
other ones,
anyone
dude.
play, so I remember being very proud of that, and I remember the game being pretty cool. So I think it's the perfect like entry point game for like kids into gaming.
Crystal Shards, 64.
Okay, well if they release it on the NSO, I'll certainly give her a rip.
I'm surprised I haven't yet.
Yeah. I previously in a different pod
Getting that Mario
complained
Golf,
that
though.
yeah, get that Mario Golf. Yeah, that is coming. If you want a whole podcast on Mario Golf 64, this is the place.
We'll do it. Don't tempt us.
I got Star Alliances when it came out, like on release, and that game was awful. The whole gimmick with that game is you had all these friends with you, so you'd just be walking through the level and they'd just be handling the stuff for you. And I was like, can I turn these down? So I would use them for the puzzles that you needed them for, and then I would just hang out by myself because
They do that in Nightmare in Dreamland too, which is the Game Boy Advance game.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
so-
interesting over time the things they've added and taken away from the Kirby franchise.
But the second attempt on the Switch is far more successful. This game is fun.
I remember when you brought over Star Allies, right? The first Switch game.
Yeah.
And I would like to play through that. I've never played through that whole one. I did get to beat it with you because you brought it over, and I think we might have had another homie because I think all three of us took down.
with us, yeah.
Yeah, I think, and then so the three of us, like,
Maybe
you're
it's
like, I'm
James.
almost done. You
James
guys want to play? And we're like, sure, why not? So all three of us are playing. We take down the final boss, and then you're like, oh, I guess that was it, guys. And we're like, cool, whatever.
Yeah, I didn't know it was the final boss, but I guess that was a fun memory. It was a wholesome way to take her down. That is the name of the game. It was supposed to be a kind of like, I'd say like 1.5 of a co-op game, like not quite like a half, like it is, but not like a fun co-op game. Similar to how this has a co-op function.
Yeah, I would like to do the co-op on this, but let's talk the quick details on Kirby and the Forgotten Land, right?
Yeah.
So it came out in 2022, not too long ago. This is us playing a game in the zeitgeist. Oh my gosh.
Right while the internet talked about Elden Ring.
Exactly.
We're here for your Kirby and the Forgotten Land coverage. Don't worry.
Developed by HAL Laboratory, which is the development company who's done all of the Kirby games, to my knowledge. Published by Nintendo, put out on the Nintendo Switch, and it's the 17th mainline installment in the Kirby series, as well as the first in the series that's fully 3D.
Smash Bros.
What's up?
I think that's the logo you usually see from Smash Bros.
Oh, that's right. They do Smash as well. But yeah, so this is the first series in full 3D, which is kind of cool. And that's the 17th in the mainline game, so that excludes all the spin-offs. So that's not going to include your Smashes or your tilt pinball and all that kind of shit. But yeah, dude, and I tell you what, when they announced this, I was like, this will be cool. I'm into it. Yeah. But then I kind of put in didn't really think about it again, and then like maybe a week or two before release, I started getting pretty amped to play this game. So I was ready. I was ready for it.
Marketing behind it. Yeah. I mean, the big draw was the switch to 3D. I don't know if they ever said open world or if people just started to kind of slap that on there, but it's not an open world game.
It's not. And
very
you know
linear.
That disappointed me at first.
For the first 2 levels, it was painfully like you've played this Kirby a trillion times, and I was also like, man, I paid the Nintendo $60 tax for this game.
Mm-hmm.
But so where the game is not necessarily innovative in any particular way, it is still a very cool curated experience.
Sure.
The environments are super cute. They're interactive. The platforming isn't hardcore, but it's clever.
I would agree with that 100%. I was never in a position where I was like, this platforming is too tough for me and it's going to take me, like, I have to do it a bunch of times. But there was some stuff that they did that I really, truly enjoyed. I was like, wow, that is like a fun little platforming sequence. There's, I can't remember what stage it is, but there's these big pillars that shift back to side. And you're going up the screen, right? So you're running towards the top of the screen or whatever, and these pillars are shifting side to side, and this is the fluidity and the way it looked and everything. It wasn't particularly hard or anything, but I was like, that was really just pleasant to run through.
Yeah, very very cool environments. Like everything looks really fun. post-apocalyptic landscape is kind of hilarious for just this derpy little Kirby. It's like, and it's all cute and like bubbly. But then you're in the Last of Us landscape kind of thing, but dressed up to be more friendly. The Mouthful Mode, I thought it was a success. People complain on the internet. They complained that you couldn't Mouthful Mode more things, and I was like,
dude, there was a good amount of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they repeat some of them a few times, but
no
like
thing with that, though. That's cool.
I didn't mind at all. I thought it was fun when you were the cone or the vending machine.
I ended up liking that car a lot.
Yeah, once I
figured out how to drive it.
once the controls are so bad that once you understand that they're bad, they're actually good.
They're actually not bad once you realize how it works.
Yeah, but no spoilers. Don't tell people how to drive the car.
I will. I will tell you right now. Just pretend like you're running, like, because that's what my brain. I have this gamer brain, so when I jumped in the car, I was like, okay, clearly I steer left to right or whatever. Once I realized that wasn't working at all of a sudden the car would go crazy on me. I made a shift in my brain, and I was like, oh, like this literally goes in the direction you're pointing the joystick.
Yeah, the joystick, the nose of your car driving towards whatever direction you point the joystick sounds obvious, but if you've played any game where you've driven any car, you're just like, what is happening halfway through the race? But once you do find that out, you can zip around. So being the car is fun.
Totally.
You have your overworld, which is pretty classic Kirby. So you have your little contained levels. I think of them as like, once again, kind of like a curated experience. It's not necessarily always moving forward, but they could be vertical or whatever, but you have a path you're going along and it's pretty cool. But then when you're out of that and you're in the overworld, they have these little bonus challenges that open up after you clear each world, which is pretty cool. And it's like about your specific copy abilities.
Right.
If you have never played Smash or any Kirby game, Kirby's pretty famous for the ability to gobble up his opponents into nothingness. 0 emissions out of Kirby as he just gobbles up the world, and then you absorb their abilities. And it would be like a challenge on like, all right, you got to do this specific thing with like the boomerang ability or this specific thing with the frost ability. And some of those, you have some target times, and I know you particularly being anal were like triggered by not being able to get some of them.
There was a couple, especially early in the game when I first started playing, there was a couple of those where I would miss it by 0.03 seconds, and it was infuriating.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you don't need to. All you need, like, there is a time limit, so later on in the game when they get even more difficult, then you end up losing just because you ran out of time because you're going too slow. But then once that was another thing in my brain, I had to switch it over. I had to be like, okay, dude, like as long as you pass these things, you get your special little star that you can use to
upgrade your abilities,
stuff.
which is cool.
And if you hit that target time that they're trying to get you get like it's like 50 or 100 coin, which was like, are you serious? Like that's what my bonus is for this?
In a game where coins, especially in the beginning, were flowing, it'd be like 20 extra coins. I'm like, for what?
Right. Oh, so the early ones were even lower, huh?
It was like 20, and then I think it got up to 50.
Yeah, I think 20, 50, 100 or something like that once they get because they are also each of those little extra side stages. They have tiers to them, so it's like a 1-star difficulty, 2-star, 3-star. So they must have the coins must be attributed to that difficulty level. But oh man, when I was like, I found myself, I was like, wait a second, if I don't like bypass, like if I stop being anal about trying to like check off the little box, like you beat the time that you're shooting for, then I actually might be able to plow through this game and beat it.
Yeah, no, but it does bring up to another compliment to the game that although some of the levels might be easier, or you might get through the game relatively quickly, the game does incentivize you to like find different challenges within the levels and kind of scratch and claw and look for different secrets.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
At first, I was like super like got 100% clear, and then I was like, I need to get through this game.
Totally. So I think that's
for the sake
cool,
of fun though. I needed to get through. Like, it was very fun to do that, but I was getting stuck going through these levels. In one sitting, I'd play like one level.
Sure. Totally.
And I was like, man, it's just like I need to see more of this game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once I let go of that, though, it was a ton of fun. So
I put a tweet out there that I was like, because the thing about Kirby is it's at least in the general reception of it is it, and I've actually, when I was telling some folks that I was like playing this game, they're like, oh, I heard that about that game. It's supposed to be like really fun, really cool, but I heard it's super easy. It's like, it's fucking Kirby, bro.
Yeah.
Like what you want it to be.
Getting into.
But I tell you what, dude, if you allow it to be, this game is grueling.
At times,
if you allow it to be, it can be so hard. Like if you're
died.
trying to hit those
I
times.
died sometimes.
But if you're trying to hit those times, hit like all those milestones and shit, like it's actually super difficult.
And that's pretty killer game design when like someone
cool.
could access it easily, and then depending on the type of efforts they put forward, they can kind of achieve different tiers of this game. At the very least, for me, it was worth playing, and it would be worth another pickup someday. And then even if you just wanted to bop around some levels, it's like a nice little incentive to be like, ooh, never figured this one out, and just kind of go back in. And
I love how approachable this game is. And I'm with you 100%. And it was actually it was purely those first 2 levels for me as well.
Yeah,
I played them.
Sucked.
I don't know. I haven't gone back to see what it was about them that irked me so much. But I played them and I was like, oh man, this game might be whack.
Yes.
And then,
especially after I got burned on the Star Allies purchase, it was like, oh, again.
Dude, I didn't even get Star Allies. I just played it with you or whatever. And
you beat it the first time you ever played it. So what were you supposed to do?
Within like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But shoot, man, I tell you what, I was nervous. I was like, this game's all right. Like, it's kind of cute. Those first 2 levels, I don't know what it is. I just felt like the flow wasn't quite right, and I'll be honest, dude, I definitely was one of those people that just assumed that this was going to be an Odyssey, Super Mario Odyssey game.
Yeah,
So when it wasn't,
we did talk about that right away. So I think we were accidentally thinking about.
I just because it was 3D, because they were moving into this 3D world. I just thought it was going to be Odyssey, and I was like, this is going to be
felt
dope.
Like
I'm
baby's
ready.
First Odyssey, though.
Yeah, totally. I think this is
again. I think that's the point of the game is like to introduce gamers or just this nice little comfort food.
Right. But you know what though? Almost immediately after those first 2 levels, it really, I don't know. I think they probably started getting a little bit more complex, and they started adding more abilities. And all of a sudden, I was pretty hooked. You know, I thought it was pretty cool.
There's not a ton of abilities in the game, so if you think of your classic Kirby abilities, the total raw number isn't a lot in this game, but they have a cool kind of interesting thing where you upgrade them, so they change a little bit over time.
There's got to be at least 10 though. That's a good amount.
Right.
And they all have 3 tiers.
That's what I'm kind of getting at. Is once you get to the tiers, it becomes you're more autonomous in the way that you whatever ones you want to upgrade. Like it's not actually super simple to have them all constantly upgraded towards the end. So you actually do have to have some choice in there. And then that's just kind of a little bit different than what I would have expected from a Kirby game. With it being on the Switch, they definitely had bigger ambitions for this game than they did Star Allies. At first, I was like, not a lot of copy abilities. The one in the Crystal Shards or whatever, I'm fairly certain that like you could suck up 2 different types of opponents and you'd get a combo abilities.
That is correct.
They've kind of played around and done really cool stuff in the past. So at first, it felt like they weren't really giving you, once again, too much innovation. But it ended up being pretty cool.
Yeah, after I beat this, and even before, as I mentioned, I played Dreamland or whatever it was, and Dreamland. But then I was just kind of curious because I want to get a feel for some of the other games, some of the other 17 games in this lineage, you know. Mm-hmm. And I will credit Nintendo and HAL for they play with these games. It's cool. Everyone has a slight different thing that you can do. Like you just mentioned, Crystal Shards having the copy ability, you combine them. So instead of hitting select or whatever it is to discard that ability, it turns into a star, goes away, and you can go back to regular Kirby who's just sucking shit up again, Right. But in Crystal Shards, he holds on to it and throws it at another enemy, and they will mold together to do like a super powered deal.
Yeah, it's like if you had fire and you had the sword ability, it would turn into a fire sword. And Star Allies, so the whole thing with that is you had a little gang with you at all times.
Totally.
So.
And I think earlier I said something about the Game Boy Advance also having, I think I said Nightmare and Dreamland maybe had those homies, but it's actually the amazing mirror that has the homies.
Okay, so if you're at home really upset about Alex,
somebody probably turned us off,
fumbling his Kirby references, you have he has redeemed himself.
Right.
But yeah, so one of the reasons to pick the game is just life has been incredibly busy. Jokes aside, if we ever did want to do something like Elden Ring, I've been so busy, I'm not trying to get home and like just get destroyed by the same thing for 2 hours. So like Kirby's just this nice little jaunt.
Comfort food.
Yeah, and the music was awesome.
Music was good,
but I would also just listen to a podcast whilst I played Kirby. Wasn't didn't need to have the noise going all the time.
Who are you listening to?
For what?
Podcast.
I ain't giving them no money. I'm just playing. But so like whatever, I'm just vegging out, man. I'm just like, it's been a long day, my brain hurts. Got a podcast going, half listening to that, half paying attention to Kirby, just kind of letting the experience wash over me, and it was all real nice.
And did you play this handheld or did you play it docked?
As always, a little bit of both. Okay. I never felt like when I docked it, it wasn't all like, oh yeah, upgrade time, or like when I had it handheld. I think it's a pretty good experience for the handheld. I mean, its birth is on the Game Boy, right?
Yes.
You had mentioned earlier. Yep. So I feel like most of its mainline entries, or most of its entries I'd be willing to bet are always been on the handhelds.
Yeah. Game Boy, the Dreamland was the first, and then shortly after that, so that was 1992, 1993, we got Kirby's Adventure was for the NES, and then Kirby's...
The first game was 92?
Yep.
Okay, Kirby's not even 30, dude. or it's about to
Oh,
be.
yeah, Kirby 30. That's right.
Kirby 30.
I think it's coming right up.
I'm as old almost as Kirby. There we are. That's why I picked this game too.
Yeah.
Me and Kirby. Yeah.
Dreamland 2 came out in 95. That's also on the Game Boy. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a cool experience on the handheld. I definitely. You're the OLED boy. So did you?
I played this
I
99.
Ask you, but you definitely appreciated it on the OLED.
I did, and I played it 99% of the time. I played it just handheld on the OLED,
Sure.
and I was impressed. I think the colors in this game really pop on there. I'm sure that it looks beautiful. I'm sure no matter where you're playing, but the OLED screen it really takes advantage of those bright colors and everything, which is cool.
Occasionally ran into some frame rate stuff, and it's just kind of funny. Like, yeah,
dude,
Kirby's a little too OP, a little overpowered for the Switch. Nintendo.
Did you run into those on those time missions I was talking about, like those extra little star deals, whatever?
I think
it
was mostly on like the final bosses and stuff, like some of the bigger moments of the game, and I was just kind of like, yeah, the Kirby.
Because in those special side mission star, whatever we call them, I don't know.
Yeah, little challenges.
So when you're trying to beat something in a certain amount of time, and you're getting frame rate issues, when you like killed one of the like bigger like enemies in there,
Alex throws his Kirby amiibo across the room in fury.
It wasn't like the biggest deal, but I was like, how are they going to keep counting time on me when they slowed this down?
I'm writing a letter.
Yeah. Jesus,
man.
HAL Laboratory.
Yeah, come on. Amateurs. Oh, man. But yeah, I mean, it's been a fun little experience, and it's very easily played.
Tell me a little bit about your history with Kirby. You mentioned Star Allies, and you mentioned the 64 Crystal Shards. Did you play any of the other previous games? Or
as a kid, we had the Game Boy ones, a few of them, one or two, so I think I'd get like, I don't know if I'd ever beat them, but I think I'd get pretty far.
Sure.
Just kind of always goes back to like it's a nice little entry point into gaming. I'd say that like most of my Kirby,
it's an excellent game to teach someone how to play a platformer.
Yeah, and it's just very approachable. Smash Bros. I'm not a Kirby.
I was going to say
main.
we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Kirby's.
But Kirby's been in there
Smash.
Since the original Smash Bros.
Yep. I believe that gave Kirby quite the glow up, dude. I think
that's the birth of its legitimacy.
I mean, to me, it's always been legitimate, man. Because like I said, like Dreamland was one of my first games I ever played for the Game Boy. Dreamland 2 was dope. Spent hours playing that as a little kid. And Kirby's Adventure on the NES was, I mean, that was just one of the staples in people's NES collections, right? So I put a lot of time into that. I don't think I've actually beat that one, but that was a game that I would play at the homies and stuff, and it was cool to see Kirby in color. That's when we saw Kirby become pink.
I suppose, yeah.
He was doing that commercial I mentioned earlier. He's just a white blob. He's looks so cursed, dude.
Yeah. No, but there is an attachment because, Smash Bros., that game I beat from Blockbuster, Crystal Shards, I was super pumped as a kid. And, I remember bragging to mom and dad about it, like, I can't believe it. Like, I beat the game. And they were like, cool.
Good for you, bud.
Like, all right. Went back to their business, but
you know what's funny is I fired that game up to get a feel for it, and it's
just so painfully easy.
No, it's not terribly. I mean, it's like all the other Kirby's. Yeah. It's approachable, but the thing that was weird about it, at least in the first couple levels, they do this angle on the screen where Kirby is walking towards the bottom right hand corner.
It's a big visual narrative podcast for you today. You're just very close your eyes. You're in the second level. Yeah. There's a staircase.
King DDD.
King DDD.
Staring you down.
Spins around in amazement. Kirby, my foil again.
Totally. Well, he's walking towards the bottom right hand corner of the screen, bro. Sure. And what that does is it makes it so your line of vision doesn't see what's coming up. I was like, this is kind of stupid, but it was 64, man. I have such a soft spot for the 64, and when I fire up some of those, because that was one of our, machine, exactly, and but then I fire up some of those other games, I'm like, whew, I'm glad we have, we have progressed.
So part of the compliments to this game just kind of go back to even the stupid part of Star Allies. Like I still played Star Allies, and it was still fun enough, but. Always very colorful and fun environments. The different stages of this game, you have a lot of your distinct biomes you'd kind of expect from a Nintendo game or just really any game, but you start off in the natural plains, which is just kind of some grasslands, the ruins of a mall. And that's kind of when we talked about.
Dude, what's kind of funny about that too is in the whole game. So you mentioned these ruins, and you mentioned earlier when we were talking about how it being this kind of abandoned area. It's totally the 90s, bro. Yeah, you got these old IBM computer looking things, and ivy growing around them and stuff. That's really cool. This little Last of Us feel, as you mentioned, but well, with a Kirby twist, so
Right.
it's very like nice.
Right.
But dude, it's just kind of funny as mid-30s, like looking at this. Oh man, basically the 90s have been overgrown, and like it's like this is the forgotten land. Oh
sure.
no, I'm an old ass man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's,
Little kids playing this game, like, look at those old computers.
You're right.
It's like shit.
So,
I used to play on one of those.
What's that? Nintendo 60. Shut up. Just
Yeah.
But yeah, the natural plains, the Everbay coast, so your classic water areas. I remember
Right.
those. I mean, those are, you can imagine, tropical, bright, fun.
I was pretty stoked when Kirby, I thought he was going to swim around and stuff, but when he jumps in the water, he's got this like little tube around his belly.
Unnecessary.
Great.
I assumed Kirby was buoyant,
Yeah.
considering he floats up in the air, huffed up on water, but apparently he still needs a swimming tube. So Kirby might be able to eat the whole world, but he's still relatable.
Right. Dude, you bring up the float thing. That was one thing about this game that I was like, there are two mechanics about this game with Kirby that it fucking pissed me off.
Oh.
Okay, that's like a little extreme.
Yeah,
Wasn't that big a deal. I got over it.
Well.
Okay, so
Throws his
the whole
amiibo
floating
again.
thing, right?
Yeah.
He only floats up to a certain amount, so you can't go all the way to the top of the screen or whatever.
It forces you to platform.
I know.
Yeah.
And then that's the way to cheese other Kirby games is you can just like have them like
right onto the top.
just fly right onto the top. You can't do that anymore. And I was like, fine.
You can get about a jump's height is how high up you can float. So
Right.
if you float from a high point across the
It
map,
runs out of steam too, man.
eventually, but that's kind of like in Smash Bros. So I appreciated that.
My second gripe,
Yeah.
he doesn't have a down smash.
Yeah, has that been in other games, or is
Yes.
that purely made for Smash?
Well, with all the other things, so okay, one thing that's in there that is also in Smash that I think is key is which I never actually use in this game is his kick slide.
I used it to do a little better fighting some bosses,
cool.
and I felt like I was being pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah, I was like, this is smooth, swoosh,
And I
swoosh.
appreciated that it was in there.
Yeah.
But they didn't have a down smash, and I was pissed. And this is
would have helped
partially because we're coming off of Dead Cells.
Okay.
Where you down
Dead Smash is very important.
So I went from like down smashing everything all the time, everywhere, to not
no
having
more
a
down
down smash. And I was like, what? Especially because Kirby's down smash in Smash Brothers is so fucking cool.
It is like a key part of my Kirby strategy when I'm playing as him, so it's pretty. Yeah, now that you mentioned it, I totally forgot.
So, and I also fired up whatever the one is for Wii.
I was gonna ask, was there even like a big Game Boy or GameCube entry? Like, I don't remember a game being released for the GameCube.
No, I actually looked into this. They were doing work on it, and it got scrapped because it wasn't where they wanted it to be. So the
I knew
only
a lot
Kirby
of people
game
with GameCubes, including us, but I never remember a Kirby GameCube game.
The only GameCube game that came out was I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically a racer. It's kind of weird.
So not a Kirby game, really.
No, it's an offshoot. It's a racer. He's like flies around on a star, and it's kind of difficult.
No, word.
But the one for Wii, there's a couple for Wii. Epic Yarn, which also came out for the 3DS, and I believe it's better on the 3DS because the Wii is just kind of a weird system. But Return to Dreamland, I believe, is the other Wii installation.
Okay.
And in that, when you copy the sword ability, he has a down smash. And I thought that was dope.
I did notice
I'm
that.
upset that we did not have one.
You'll do the.
To be fair, though,
And if you
I
play
didn't
Smash
check
Bros,
to
you know
make
what I
sure.
just did.
I didn't check to make sure that maybe because that isn't that one, so maybe it's in this one. And I just missed it and didn't do it, but I don't think it's in there. I think it's a missed opportunity, Nintendo, and because you listen to us and take everything we say into account, I think you can fix that.
Patch it in. Patch it in. No, I mean, yeah, I didn't notice that till now, but it is an interesting omission. But
Yeah. And, does it wreck the game? Absolutely
like,
not.
we did everything we could in Mouthful Mode, my guy.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about those copy abilities. What's your favorite one?
I thought I would hate Kirby with a gun.
Ranger
But
mode.
I definitely will. He get up to Space Ranger. Oh no, it's always called
Ranger.
But then you have like the pirate Kirby. That's kind of funny as you upgrade it, and then
Yeah.
most of the
With
end
the flumes
game,
in his hat
yeah,
or plumes or whatever they are.
Even when you're in Mouthful Mode, you still have whatever ability copies. So if you're a car, you're like Kirby's mouth stretched over a car. But if you like have the sword thing, you'll have like a little helmet too.
Yeah, that's cool.
So like at the end of the game and the cutscenes and stuff, it's just me as like Ranger Kirby, which I actually thought, given the weird sci-fi ending we'll get into later, like I thought that was actually kind of fitting, so I wasn't mad about it.
We are going to put up a spoiler wall.
Yeah, for the deep weird takes.
I want to, because I just think the ending was fun. So like when we get there, we'll give you all a little notice where to fast forward to.
But that was my favorite copy ability. I like the mouthful.
The Ranger was? Is that what you're saying?
It probably, yeah. I like the spike ball that you roll into other things.
Yeah, I didn't at first because I traditionally have always hated on the spike copy ability.
Yeah.
But that one, as it upgraded, got cooler because you would roll around.
Yeah, and then you collect.
And then when you released, it would throw whatever those things are in a different direction. That was kind of tight.
So those became very fun.
Yeah, totally. Any that you didn't like?
I mean, all of them to some degree are a little basic as far as like these. A lot of these are abilities that Kirby's been playing with since the first time.
It's the charm, in my opinion.
Sure. But I just bring it up in the sense that like I wasn't too blown away by any or like this is my favorite. You just kind of like part of the fun is that you pick them up as you go, and if you need them for a puzzle, like that enemy will reappear.
Mm-hmm. I did like that a little.
Yeah, and like people online were complaining about that. I'm like, you got to remember you're playing a Kirby game,
right?
It's like if you watched a Nintendo Direct and you're mad that there's 30 minutes of JRPG nonsense
I think
that
that's
you
what
don't
I
make
love
sense,
about
you
this
have
game.
to remember that it's
I think everybody. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinions, man. But the thing, my opinion, because I'm entitled to mine, is like if you're going at a Kirby game, like you're just going in for some wholesome fun.
Yep.
A little bit of platforming, good ass time, good ass visuals.
Yeah,
some
if you're
cute
looking
music.
for innovation, I'm not sure why they assigned you to this review, but
yeah, for sure.
So I read some of that. So like the copy abilities were whelming, but like they were fun. I didn't like the ice one too much. I don't like Kirby skating around.
I actually came to
it's
really
a cool
enjoy
flourish, but I just don't like
you can skate on top of the water.
That actually was cool,
nice.
the way they did that in their little platformy side challenge things that we talked about earlier. So I guess I just hated on my own take. I'd say like the spiky Poyo thing and then the little digger thing were the most fun.
Oh, I hated that digger.
The digger was like, it was cool though. You can't really.
And that was one of the new ones. That was one of the new ones they had. I don't think he's ever had that before.
So it led to like cool platformings and like secrets and
got
things.
a higher jump out of it because you'd shoot out of the ground and stuff. So
it wasn't fun to like fight enemies with that ability.
No, it sucked.
But it was
actually,
cool
to be
for
fair,
the
like
action involved.
Yeah, and you would go on like there's some signposting or whatever, so there'd be like a cage or gate rather, and there'd be like a little hump or like where you could tell that I can go under
burrow under. Yeah,
so like that kind of stuff was cool. And then this burrowing was kind of cool. If you burrow in a full circle, it like does like an explosion thing, which is kind of fun.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I know, but is this my least favorite one?
It's kind of fun. The sleeping was my least favorite because
I never use that. Why would you even do that? Oh, it gives you a little bit of energy boost, I think.
Yeah, or like the bomb. It's just like okay.
Yeah, the bomb. Well, that's like classic. So you get
they are.
So that one, like I
the
get it, but I never
microphone
used
back in
it.
the day.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
My favorite was the sword. It's kind of basic, kind of vanilla. But I tell you what, dude.
If you could see the face I just made. About
pure joy.
Vanilla takes.
Whatever, dude. Vanilla boy. I liked it, dude. I like it for many reasons. It's
the
just
Vanilla Boys podcast. Brought to you by Chet Hanks.
Oh, boy.
Boo.
Oh man, but no, dude, I liked it. And it also, I love the little nods it gave to Zelda.
Yeah,
which is cool because when you first get that ability, you're wearing like a little like Link hat type of thing, and you got the like Link thing, and you hold it and you do the like Link spin thing. I like that. I'm just a Zelda fanboy too, so like that's probably why. Plus, I just think it's like it's a nice. I actually the sword in all the Kirby games. It's just as a platformer, I just think it's one of the easier like approachable weapons to use. So I fall into it.
I like the hammer better.
The hammer is dope. I do like that one a lot too. But I'm talking about the sword right now, man.
Yeah, let me get about the sword.
So here's the deal though. So the second upgrade in the sword, you get kind of this big old like.
Barbarian with a fur coat vibe.
Which is kind of a cool vibe, but I was like, nah, I want those Link vibes again. Like, what's going on?
But then you got Meta Knight vibes.
That's right. That's cool. So a little spoiler for anybody, but
never seen Meta Knight unmasked. Is that
oh no,
that
he gets
it
sure is.
Oh, okay.
You just haven't played the games that happens. But he pops that mask off. He looks a lot like Kirby, only he's a darker color.
Because that means evil, right? Although Meta Knight's like, there's a complicated thing. He's kind of like King Dedede too. It's like they're not really his enemies anymore.
All right, you're derailing me. I want to talk about the sword thing.
So
and
the 5th minute of sword copy ability and not the deep extended universe of Kirby, but continue, sir.
Even Murph's upset.
Yeah, Murph agrees. He's like, move on from the sword. It's a basic ability, Al.
So you get the third one, Meta Knight, after you beat Meta Knight in this little stadium thing that you do in D-Town.
D town, D. No, it's just D.
It's D-Town.
I wish it was D.
That would be cool. But you go back to the more of those Link mechanics. You got this really cool, like you got the Meta Knight sword, which is dope, and you got the Meta Knight mask and this little Kirby strap-on thing to make you look like Meta Knight. But it's cool because you get when you swing, you get the Zelda blast that comes, so it's like turns into kind
only
of
have
a
full
gun.
health, similar to.
Oh, is it full health? So
I think so.
It's always rock full. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no.
And then you got the spin
That's
attack
a Zelda
again.
thing itself, though.
So I dug that. I thought that was really cool, and I agree with you that the Ranger attack was really dope. I like that one. And when you get all the way up to the Space Ranger, like that weird atomic thing that comes out, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So that was a cool one.
The boss fights. You want to go to boss fights now, or do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about
sword
modes,
copy abilities.
Your favorite mouthful modes.
Oh, okay. The car was cool, as we previously discussed. I like the vending machine. I mean, there's really just two types. The active ones where you're supposed to quote-unquote platform, and the other ones where you essentially unlock something. So there's like the water tower balloon-looking thing where you rock the joystick in a certain way until Kirby rocks the lid off. Mm-hmm. You have the pulling file cabinet down from wall mouthful mode, and then is there any other ones that you can think of that are like purely to like get access to something, or are those two it?
What did you just say again?
The one where you take off the little water tower or the lid.
Oh, yeah.
And then the one where you take the filing cabinet down. But is there any other where it's purely just for like a mechanic of moving on or
not that I
unlocking
can
a secret?
Right now.
Yeah, so there's those types. And then there's like the functioning ones. So like the car, the traffic cone. Interesting that they chose the traffic cone because it's like it sounds very benign, but it's very powerful.
Yeah, it pounds the ground and whatever you're doing.
This destroys the area. Anyway, it's cool.
I like the whole soda can machine thing too.
The vending machine, it's fun.
Pop machine if you're here in Minnesota.
Yeah, right. Parts of Iowa. But if you
shoot out those cans though.
You pop out can. It's fun.
I like how you
can heal yourself with that too when you absorb them back in. So if you ever,
Good
point.
That's
kind of a silly thing.
I did like that too when you because you shoot them out and you're like, oh, well, they give you like so much, you never run out of them. But I did like how you kind of collect them as you keep going.
Yeah.
So you shoot them out and you go like, I have 300 cans. And it's like, oh no, I'm using up all my cans. But as you run into them, you get them back. I thought it was kind of cool.
I would say that to not that it's like a spoiler, but I've actually seen this on the internets too, like almost not explaining the different mouthful modes because they kind of play with like the environment.
Sure.
The way you experience it is kind of fun. So I'll leave it vague, but it helps you traverse the worlds in like a cool little fun way. And I generally found the mouthful mode stuff to be particularly enjoyable.
The other one would be the that lift. That's pretty much like
and I
to
can
get through certain things.
Yeah, I can think of some other examples, but once again, I just think part of the fun and the goofy joy of the game is just stumbling into the weird environmental stuff. So I'm a chill on that.
Right on. Let's talk bosses, but not the last bosses.
No, but the bosses are fun. You fight that big Gorimoto.
Yeah, Gorimoto.
Big ape.
I think he was new. I think he was a new introduction to the whole Kirby lore.
Okay, I don't know Kirby's classic enemies other than Meta Knight and DDD.
Well, that tree. So
the tree, yeah, you're right. I know about the tree. You fight the tree in every game you play.
Right, but this was like a tropical tree. Kind of fun.
Okay, sure. New tree, but that tree boss was actually pretty fun. So, each of it's just kind of like similar to how the levels are these fun little curated experiences. Like the bosses are just like kind of fun little experiences. They got a little harder. Right. There was a decent amount of challenge in them, but they were all like very fun, giant, creative little goofy bosses. I don't know.
Totally. So we got Gorimondo, which is this big gorilla dude. Mm-hmm. Then we've got the Tropic Woods, which is our, kind of your classic tree. Then you've got Clawline.
Yeah.
Which is this, what is she, like a panther or something?
Jaguar. Panther,
cool.
Circus, like trapeze artist type thing going there. So
and then
pretty cool.
And then you fight King DDD.
Is that what, really?
Yeah.
I don't remember fighting him so early in the game.
You get an early one, but then he you knock him out and he sneaks away.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I forgot.
Then something else happens we're not going to talk about.
Okay. And then the one we really need to talk to about is the very, very cursed Silly Dillo. Super cursed. Super creepy. Like very goofy looking, but has all these fake Kirby like statues. dolls
They're
hanging in its lair.
Yeah, exactly. They
He
look like
traps
little,
you in this cage.
voodoo
this little,
dolls or something.
Yeah, it's very horrifying. He seems like
it's super dark, and he looks insane.
he looks like he's got some mental issues that aren't being helped, and he's weird, obsessive, and like scary. But like he captures you in this little cage. And I keep smacking the joystick, and then I realized that like later on that I was supposed to be doing the left one.
Yeah.
And that's why none of my motions were working, and I couldn't get from his cage. So one time he literally just rattled me to death in the cage in one shot. But he was actually kind of tricky. He caught me a lot, and the first time I beat him, if he would have hit me one more time, I would have lost. And and his little dance partner, quote unquote, that's some creepy shit.
I don't know if I remember that.
He like spins his dance partner and like shoots at
you.
Yeah,
It's
that
like
is
a
tough. Lady silly
yeah,
dillo.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, so he's got like a pretend giant creepy girlfriend. Tight.
That is tough.
It was super cursed.
This is where I
creepy.
admit to the world that this is where I cheesed the game with my meebs.
Yeah, my man used
I almost
amiibo to cheat in Kirby, and then he's like, "The bosses aren't hard." I'm like, "You literally cheated once."
Dude, I was so close. I was so close to beating him, and then he was so close to beating me, and I was like, "Dude, I don't want to redo this." So I paused it, got my ass up, pulled out my Kirby amiibo, and boom.
I did that later on. I was like, I just want to be done. I understand what it's going to take to beat this boss, and I understand that I just don't want to do that right now. I got things to do. So
the three compatible memes with this game are Kirby, Meta Knight, and King Dedede.
They all look great.
Kirby gives you a little item that allows you to get 2 bars of health, and Meta Knight gives you a little item that makes you go faster.
Oh, really?
And King Dedede gives you a little item that gives you extra power.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's kind of cool.
After the end of the game, can't you like increase your copies to have higher power and stuff too? Like you can keep upgrading them.
Yeah, I believe so. And I think this is a good point for us to take a small break to tell you about our unsanctioned sponsor. Shout out to the Amiibos.
Shout out to the Amiibo addiction.
What you know about Amiibo addictions, bro?
Yeah, it didn't go over well when I was buying the Amiibo companion to the game.
You needed it. It helps you beat the game.
Well, she didn't know that, nor was she going to hear that argument and have it sway her. It's more like, we need to be saving money. But I was like,
I used to approach Amiibos. I was like, I don't really want these Amiibo things. And then like, I don't remember what cracked the seal on the Amiibos for me.
Probably some Zelda stuff.
It might have been. Yeah, I think it was. I think it was like the Young Link or something was one of my first ones. And then I was like, I'm only going to get the memes that like mean something to me.
Yeah, no. Now we're stretching what means something to us every time we're there.
Dude, now there's memes I've passed on that I'm like, shit, I shouldn't have passed on that fucking thing.
Yeah, there's a few, but for the most part, like, I know I love the Zelda stuff, but the blocky original one, the Minecraft looking ass, I'm not mad that I skipped that one over.
Oh, yeah, I got
I'm
that
still
one.
chill on that one.
It's about the history, man, the culture.
No, I get it, but I already like even have like I don't have as much like curated desk space as you do for the collectibles, so like they're kind of lumped up next to each other on mine, so I'm gonna have to find somewhere better.
I'm a 35-year-old man that lives in a child's paradise. If they came in my office, they would be like, "What? Look at all these toys and
all these games,
yeah, these games, these toys, and
all the games you couldn't have when you were
I'd be like,
a
yes,
kid,
you can
too.
play with them. Just please be careful.
Get your sticky fingers off of my.
Go wash your
Mifa.
hands. Go wash your hands.
Yeah.
Shout out to the memes. Shout out to using memes to beat
All
Kirby.
right.
Shout out to
Shout-outs
memes
to
for making my office look tight. Studio office, Meeb room.
And I have a Tom Nook that I keep over the sink, so when I'm doing dishes, I like know that my feudal landlord is getting his. It's like to know that we do it for the bells, baby. This is how we gonna pay off this house.
Here's the memes. Here's the memes, everybody. Buy those
Tom
memes. And welcome back to the spoilers of Kirby. Don't want endgame spoilers? Fast forward to 5125. Again, that's 5125.
So when Kirby, the writers, sucked up the strange sci-fi ability from Metroid writers, and that is how we get what the fuck happened in the end.
Dude, what the hell is going on? Okay, so like the beginning of the game, they laid out some like story, and I was like, all right, cool.
Kirby
like,
gets sucked into a warp, and he's in a different world, and that's like
Right.
it. And then you're there, and it's cursed.
All right, so we mentioned some of the other bosses prior to this, but the bosses we did not mention are Forgo DDD. So this is your second time fighting DDD as a boss, and he's got this weird mask on, right?
Yeah.
And he's kind of tough. And after you beat him, like your homies or something. I don't know. I was so confused with that whole thing. Like
I don't think DDD's like a bad guy anymore.
See, that's what I was trying to figure out. And I didn't beat Star Allies, and I think there might be something in the Kirby lore that I just skipped out on that I didn't understand. Maybe it's in the 3DS games.
They have a ton of manga and stuff around Kirby. So
all right, so
anime.
I was listening to some homies on a different podcast, and they were talking about, just briefly, they mentioned some like deal that Kirby struck with the DDDs, where they're like homies now or something. So I think that like it's something to do with this, because the DDDs are like the DDDs
Waddle Dees
or Waddle Dees. Sorry, Waddle Dees.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Waddle Dees used to be one of Kirby's main enemies. So
it's the equivalent of Mario using the Goombas as his contractor.
right.
Yeah.
So it's like, apparently Kirby and the Waddle Dees struck a deal at some point. They're homies now.
Please don't eat us, master. And he's like, I'm fine.
And King DDD is like he's like the greedy king of the Waddle Dees. So like apparently there's some, and I think even Meta Knight be part of this. Like I think all the bad guys are like, they got some sort of truce going on, and that comes out.
Did you tear up when DDD had his Groose moment where he grew into his hero role, or did you not?
I got really confused. I was like, wait, is he a homie now? Like, didn't I just fuck him up?
He saved little homie, dude.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Who we didn't even mention earlier, but Elephas or whatever.
Has that not always been in the games? Little blue alien? It was
it was new. This was like, you get other little homies in other games, but Elephas was new to this. But so you got the Forgo DDD where all of a sudden like you beat him, and it's a pretty cool fight, and it like looks really cool. It's like dark, and we got all this shit going on. You beat him. And then all of a sudden he's your homie, and he saves one of the Waddle Dees, and you're like, okay, I guess he's cool, like whatever. And he closes the door on him, and you're like, oh, sad. Like, I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
Then you keep on moving. At this part of the game, it turns into like, it's kind of a boss rush mode, right? So you, I don't remember. Yeah, I think you, like whatever the next couple stages are, you pretty immediately go into them, and you basically play through everybody again.
Yeah.
But they're a bit more difficult, and you progress, and after that you get to Leongar or whatever, who is in Lab Discovera, which is this weird. It kind of gives you a backstory, to this lab. Like, I don't know what the hell they're doing. There's some weird deals, and like Elephas is like other half or something.
There's like a bunch of enslaved Waddle Dees on hamster wheels. That was
power and everything.
Hell,
I was like, well, that's dark.
Yeah, and I wasn't paying good enough attention to fully get it, so I feel a little dumb. But I'm like, what in the hell is like?
Yeah.
What are they getting at? And something about. Did they create Dreamland, or did everybody from this world go to Dreamland, and then they're trying to force their way there, or something? But the world's all at the universe of pop stars at risk.
Right.
You got to defeat this evil plan, and stuff's bonkers.
You take down Leongar, right? And then after that, you go and you take down Fecta Forgo or whatever it is, which is like Elephas' second half. It was kind of tight, like a good fight, like or whatever. And then you go into it was pretty tough, and then that immediately goes into, is that the next part, is that Fecto Elephas or whatever? It's like it's like a transformed part of this, and like in between those there's some cool, like all the platforming in this game where you're running towards the screen is, I thought, pretty cool. So he's like chasing you in this weird like cursed blob form.
Yeah.
That was kind of tight. And then
if you've played inside, it's like that gobbledygook.
Yeah, and then you're back on this plane afterwards or whatever, and you're fighting them again, which is like, all of it's really cool. There's like this astral shit going on in the background and stuff, and it's just all really visually like
very
super
intense,
awesome.
But it's also like it's just been this pleasant romp for 10 hours, then it's like this weird hardcore sci-fi like.
Where's the boss? But yeah,
well,
totally.
I just mean like the tone shift was like, what is happening? And it was just like, this is crazy. But
and then you get your last Mouthful ability of the game, which was super dope, dude. I loved it. It's like this semi truck.
Yeah,
and you like
it's trucking Kirby,
dude. You get that thing, and it's like you shoot into the sky on this truck. And I don't remember, you had to shake the controller or do something, tap real quick or something.
You have to do some taps. You have to do some joystick rumblings.
Yeah.
But like, if you've ever watched an episode of Dragon Ball Z where like they're like shooting their beams, and like whoever grunts harder, like the beam goes in that direction. Like you're doing that against the thing, and it's real stupid, and it's awesome.
Oh man, so much fun! Like just like I just had the biggest grin on my face, dude. Like as I was like, this is so ridiculously like cool and like silly.
If I were a kid, I'd be like, yeah,
I'm a grown ass man, and I was like, oh shit, yeah,
Throws
look at this
amiibo
shit
for third time.
That was cool, man. But I was so confused though, and like, feel free to message us and tell us what's up with this lore, because I'm not gonna look into it. But why was everybody my homie afterwards?
They were like under the spell of thing.
Okay, that's what I kind of assumed.
Yeah, because that's why in the post credit you have to free the lion's fucking soul or some shit. There's pieces of his soul all over the place. I did the first one and I got 45. I was like, I'm not backtracking for these 5 soul.
If you look at the little bar in the right hand corner, you can tell that I don't think you need to be a completionist about it. I think you free him if you get like 75 to 80% of the stars or something. Because I've worked through about 3, and that's another like spoiler thing that we should mention now that we're in the spoiler part of this pod. But
for you deep Kirby fans,
But there's end game content, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah,
right. So you beat the game, you roll the credits.
On top of the fact that there's like good incentive to actually go back, like we previously talked about, and there's a lot of fun stuff to do. We didn't even talk about how like the home base.
Let's get to that after the spoiler stuff because like
yes, Dad.
We might gotta bring everybody
talk
back.
about the sword copy, please. One more time.
Well, I just think I just think that the end game stuff is cool, and I think that it adds. Like I just think that it's this whole other, and I was like, did I beat this game then? Yeah, I did. I rolled the credits, but like there's this whole other factor, and like you mentioned it pre-pod here, the pre-recording is they're reusing a lot of the stages in these separate worlds for the end game stuff where you could go in and you're trying to save the soul of Leon Gar or whatever. But they're difficult. They're more difficult than the regular stages, and you're supposed to collect these stars and pieces of the souls. Yeah, like and it's darker, right? So it's like it's interesting, and I think that's like it's a nice way to do additional gameplay. But I was just so confused, man, because I don't know the lore, and I didn't understand why I wanted to help Leon Gar because like he was just trying to fuck me up. So why would I go help him? And
he's the only animal that wasn't.
Same with Clawline, his partner. She's like, you gotta help, and I was like, why? You were just such a dick to me. But maybe I was not like playing such. I think you're right, dude. I think they were under some
really
weird spell.
Invested.
I just didn't understand. And then like I had help. As Kirby, we had like rebuilt the Waddle Dee town, and then all of a sudden King Dedede is a homie, and he's just being like in the town, chilling, resting up after his big battle. And I was like, why is this dude here?
That was me. No, yeah. So throughout the game, you free Waddle Dees from the levels, and that's like. You go back and you're like, do this on the boss, and that's how you unlock, like, defeat the boss using the freeze copy ability, and that's how you get, like, a different Waddle Dee. And,
so I think that's all the spoiler stuff. I think we can, at this point, bring everybody back
so this
in,
is just
right?
This is just base game stuff.
All right, so welcome back to everybody.
You skipped forward. You're a true Kirby diehard.
You're gonna play this game, and I appreciate that. And you don't want to be spoiled. That's awesome. That's why we did this for you. So now we're talking Waddle Dee Town, which was cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of part of that overworld. It's like almost like the home base part. So when you unlock the different Waddle Dees throughout the different levels, once you hit certain benchmarks, different parts of the town open up. I don't think this is radical by any means, but it was certainly very cute. So that's how you unlock the different newer, higher levels versions of the copy abilities. You go into the workshop, you find blueprints. It's just another incentive to dig and hunt for things, which is cool. And then once you find the blueprints, you upgrade them, and then there's like a weird little lunch rush mode where you're just like grabbing these items in a fast pace.
Right.
And not a ton of... I needed some money real quick once, so I actually did that for some money.
You were strapped for cash in this game, bro?
From the upgrades, yeah.
Sure.
And then you can go fishing for no good reason other than it looks cute.
The upgrades cost money or they cost stars?
Both.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I never had to deal with the upgrade money problem.
I'm
flush with cash.
So flush. There's like a boss rush mode.
Stars, though, I had to go back and get all those.
Oh, yeah. There's like a boss rush mode for like, that's how you face off against Meta Knight.
Yes, you got the lunch rush, the boss rush. You do the tilt game.
I did not.
That's kind of. I did a couple of. I didn't. The last one was actually kind of difficult, so it threw me back to my memories of Kirby Tilt and Tumble. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, we also mentioned amiibos, and then didn't mention the in-game amiibos that you unlock.
Oh yeah, which are just totally, like, man. That was another thing.
Fun and cute.
Because Kirby's got a little house. He's got a little shelf. He puts his amiibos up in there, and I was like,
"Oh, I didn't say that. What?
Oh, dude, you can set your amiibos up on your shelf.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, man. I was like, I hit up our Discord, and I was like, I don't know if I love or hate this. I feel a little seen right now.
I thought that was just about the meebs in general.
Man, Kirby you collect these little meebs. There's fucking 4 tiers of them too, so like there's a lot to collect. And
Kirby's sitting there working on a podcast.
You can choose
with
3
his Waddle Dee buddy, and he's just like,
you can choose 3 meebs to have on your mantle, man. You got to choose which ones you want. And I'm like, oh, it's gonna make me choose my favorites.
Yeah,
like, dude, it's like it was cute. I was like, oh, Nintendo knows. They know. What else? You got the Coliseum in there, which is kind of cool. It's like a battle. You can like a boss rush deal. That's how you unlock the Meta Knight sword thing, which is kind of cool. There's some other things too. They've got like a weird
post office.
Yeah, the post office thing. So like if you can, they give you a code and then you can find these codes elsewhere. And I think like I saw Nintendo drop something on the internet. So like there's just different codes that give you different little bonuses. It's kind of fun.
I figured it'd be like they would tweet stuff.
Yeah, totally. So they've been doing that, which is kind of cool. There's some other stuff going on. I haven't like, to be honest, like there's like stuff I was like, I don't have the time, but I love that they added all that stuff. I just think it gives this game legs. I think it gives you like, replay value. And we've mentioned this on other podcasts too. And it's like, the thing is like, we just tear through all these games. Well, we're doing a better job of tearing through the games now that we like have a monthly thing.
Shorter games.
pick the shorter games too. But you know what I'm saying? Like, for most folks, like especially kids, it's great having a game that they can play like Kirby and then come back to and have more.
If your birthday is in September and Christmas is in December, those are the 2 video games you get in this year.
Right, so I just think it's cool. And like even as an adult, I'm like, this is kind of fun stuff. It's stuff that it makes me. I'm looking forward to popping this game in from time to time.
Park
and
ride. It's like sometimes you just want to chill out with the attractions real quick.
Right, totally. Yeah. I know there's some other stuff that they got on there. There's like a little item shop that's useful as well. So if you don't have the Meebs, you can spend your coin on getting the same upgrades that the Meebs give you, which is nice if you're trying to if you are having a little difficulty at the Silly Dillo or whatever, maybe go in there with
Silly
a little
Dillo
item.
was hard, okay? Ricky agrees.
Yeah, true.
He didn't cheat either. So
hey man, is it cheating when it's official? Yeah, whatever. I ain't got no shame. I'll do it again.
I'll do it again. Yeah,
Waddle Dee Town was cool, and so like like you were saying, man. So like you, as you save all these Waddle Dees throughout the worlds, they come back into town and they start building it back up and everything. It's just kind of cool.
It's very cute.
That's the little Waddle Dee professor dude that tells you, where you can find
blueprints,
blueprints that allow you to do those upgrades we were talking about, and that's kind of nice. He gives you like a pretty good idea of where they might be. There was a couple of those blueprints, man. I hit up the Discord and I was like, "Where is this one? I cannot find it." And I
told him
he did. It was helpful because I actually didn't look anything up on the internet for this game because I was like, "Dude, you don't need to be looking up shit on Kirby. You need to." But I was like, I can still hit up the homies.
I think I did when I was trying to complete everything. I was like, "Am I really
keep
about
that
to
lower
do
G?
this?"
You love, I'm just playing.
I slayed the Spire dog.
Oh yeah.
So we'll get there.
Well, cool, dude. Yeah, I think Waddle Dee Town, I think, man, I think this was a really cool game. I think that, if you want to play Elden Ring, play Elden Ring.
Right.
If you want to play Kirby, this is what you get, and it's dope.
I think if you got a friend that's dumb like we are and bought the physical copy, borrow it from that friend.
Yeah, totally.
Like, I don't know if I'd fully recommend. Like, when we talked about, I mean, I would, but like, when we're talking about a $60 purchase, then it's like, but for me, I knew what I was getting into.
Yeah.
And that's when we talked about earlier when people, it's like they review the game from too objective of a perspective, and it's like, dog, it's Kirby. Like, it's supposed to be like you're talking about like fast food, like it's high end, like, you know what I mean? Like if I'm at the Olive Garden, I'm like, well, it's not the most authentic Italian food. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, right.
You got that unlimited breadstick and pasta.
Sometimes I just want some Zuppa Toscana and some breadsticks, dog, and that's what Kirby is. So like, if I had a younger child, the ones where they actually know if the controller is plugged in or not.
Yeah.
Versus like just handing them a controller and they're just there for the bright lights. Like,
that is something, because one of the Waddle Dees, I don't remember his name, but you have the ability to do, or the option to do 2-player.
Yeah,
and that's something that I would love to, I think that would be perfect. If you have a little kid or something, you want to play some games with them, but they're not like to that level where they're actually like super good at games yet. Like you were saying, it's like they got their controller plugged in, they're helping you out. But, they're actually playing. I think that's super cool.
Yeah, no, and it's just like such a great entry point to gaming, and it's such a fun little adventure bop.
That's gorgeous too, man. Like that 3D, even though it's more linear than I had hoped, I came around to that once I was like, okay, fine, it's Kirby. It's supposed to be linear.
Yeah, and you see kind of how they curate the experience
right
due to the linearness of it. So it's like not every game has to be open world. So that's kind of like at first, because we thought it would be kind of like an Odyssey. Mm-hmm. I think that's why it was not at first very cool. But then once you settled in and like a lot of the really cool, like there's a planet later on where, I don't know why I call it planet. That's like an old Kirby carry over. But there's a level later on where like these asteroids keep falling and then a huge chunk of the environment will be like sinking and you have to like get through
that one was fun.
Or there's like the amusement park kind of entire biome or world area where like that was just kind of cool the whole time, and that's where the parade.
The lights and colors and everything were super cool too.
Yeah, so like they just had a ton of really, really good artwork with the environments. So like I think
the lava, the water.
Yeah. So if
you know
we're
how,
talking
like,
about
gamers
the
get
economics,
like caught up on how water looks in games and look pretty cool in this game.
Usually water levels just mean tedium, like oh it's a water level, but
Yeah,
like this one was fun because you weren't actually swimming underwater ever too much.
Nope,
so like
you floated and you didn't slow down either. Really, like that was another thing. So
there was
I
cool
appreciated
mechanics, and then the $60 thing for the roughly like I think you'd probably. If I played this game again or did a bunch of the bonus content, I think I'd get up to like 20 to 25 hours max. So like I know it's not a perfect thing, but if like, you know,
I'm curious. I wonder how much time I did put into this game.
I think you were at 15 last time I checked. But
peeping my times.
Says guy who shames me every other podcast for my hours. But yeah, I mean, I do recommend the game. It is tons of fun, but it's like, are you down for a derpy 10 to 15 minute or 10 to 15 hour experience total? And if so, here's the deal. But if
you're right, I got
like,
15 hours on it.
If someone was like, I'll wait until it's like $40, I'd be like, yeah, sounds great.
Yeah, we're waiting a while though.
Yeah, it's
but
Nintendo.
No rush. There's no rush to these things.
Nah, it'll be there. It'll be a cool game forever. So
right on.
I'll go back to it at some point.
Totally. I would highly recommend. I think it's a very fun, wholesome, fun little game.
Video Game Donkey liked it, and I thought he was going to roast it. Did you watch that?
No, I'll watch it now.
All right, it's cool.
Cool, man. Let's talk about what else we've been playing.
All right, so how you been spending your free time? So we got our mission here, but you know what other games?
Mission complete.
Mission complete. What's your side quest games?
Oh dang, side quest life. I like it. That's
side
what we're rolling with.
Oh. All right, but anyway, I'll go first because I'm mad at you for
please,
that. Yeah,
go
yes,
ahead.
I slayed the Spire. In Slay the Spire, you beat it in the base way, and then when you beat it with the first 3 characters, you unlock like the kind of true mode to like actually face the heart as a boss.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was really possible. Got discouraged. Got burnt out on the game.
95 hours.
Shut the fuck up, dog. It's a great game to play when your brain hurts. And when you're watching TV or sports.
Luke's brain be hurting.
Yeah, dog.
100 hours.
All the time.
I'm just fucking with you, dude. Go ahead.
I know.
I'm proud of you, slaying Spires.
Don't be proud of me. But anyway, I did it with the knife poison build kind of guy. I forget the names. Almost 100 hours, but I don't know their names, so that shows you something. But you just got a huge poison buildup because every time you play a card, the heart beats and you lose some health. And like you have to face this really tough mini boss. Before you get to him, or it. It's a heart. There's no reason to gender that. Moving forward. And then you're just like, so there's no healing. There's like these mini bosses which like can truly mess you up so easily. And then you're right at the final boss. And then every card you play hurts you. It has all sorts of wild, dangerous attacks. And it's really difficult. But I have all these different abilities to apply poison. Mm-hmm. And then I got like 2 of these cards where it's like triple your opponent's current poison. So I just put like a huge number on there and finally beat it. So I was very proud of that.
Spire Slade.
Spire Slade. Took some screenshots and immediately started excitedly texting. So then Trisha looked up and goes, Did you beat it or something? I was like, yeah. Didn't think I ever would. And then I went back to play a little bit of Down Smash game. Dead Cells. Yeah. And literally was 1 strike away from beating the final boss. Then he killed me, and I was like,
have you beat that game yet?
No, because that's happened to me twice. We're literally like, it's
I
that
haven't
thing
beat
where,
it since that one time, dude.
Yeah, it's like one of those things in these types of games. You always go ham on the boss when you're really close to being done. That you kind of lose some of your like tact and like positioning. So you get so excited. And if I just hit him like once or twice, it's gonna be over. And then that almost worked, and then it didn't.
Nice. And
then Mario Golf just be disappointing with their. It's been harder.
I haven't even fired it up this month yet.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is once they found out about them Yoshis because it's been harder to get matched online in a timely manner. So I'm still trying to get everybody's club sets up, but I haven't played much. And the 3-colored Yoshi, at least you can be like sort of cool colors, but. If you're going to give me more Yoshi, give me black Yoshi.
That would be tight.
And that is what I've been playing for the most part. Kind of gave up on Majora's Mask. I should say I hit a wall. Yeah. I got 3/4 through the game.
If we were focusing on that game, if we called that game, which we may do one of these days, but...
I was doing it without a guide for a really long time, and I kind of want to not do that anymore.
Yeah,
so.
you also, like, you've been, like, Year of Zelda, man. So, like... I love Zelda, but like to go back to back to back to back on all these games, that's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't picked up the one on the Wii simply because I don't like booting up the Wii, and I'm in this temple that was pretty cool, but I'm just like tired of the Wii. So when they re-release that on the Switch, I'm gonna crush it.
Right on.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
Yeah. So what 42 games are you playing?
Oh,
30 minutes of.
I got my Steam
Bud Light
Deck.
All right. Yeah, Steam Deck.
Steam Deck came a couple days ago, dude, and
beefy.
it is. Yeah, a little bit, but it's like it's not as heavy as the internet made it sound.
Okay.
I think it's fun, man. It's not okay if you are buying this thing for like a kid or someone it's definitely like it's a gamer's fucking platform, you know, the system or whatever. Exactly. It's not plug and play 100%. Like you can it's not when people are like it's dope, it's not ready, that's right. That's true. Like because it's not super fluid. It runs off Linux, but it has a Steam launcher thing, which is pretty easy to navigate. But I have roughly 50 Steam games, right?
Sure.
And about 10 of those are 100% Steam Deck good to go. And then the vast majority of the other ones work, but there's like odd things where it's not like super fluid. You might have to like use like the mouse trackpad and stuff to like get that game to work. And then there's a handful of games that just don't have support at all yet. Some of those like Age of Empires 2, I can't play on the Steam Deck. Half-Life.
Can't imagine that being a fun game to play on the Steam Deck.
No, but that's just it. So, but you can do a Bluetooth mouse and like that kind of thing. I wonder if
you could play Civ on there yet, because that would be a cool game.
I'm not sure. I'd have to check.
Switch, it's fun, so a more high-powered version would be cool.
And then so that's really really fun to play with. It is a handheld emulation. It's a dream, dude. Like this thing is just beautiful. Like it's the best. Like I'm very excited about the emulation capabilities of this thing.
He owns all those games.
I own a lot of them. but I tell you what, dude. I tell you what. So like that's been dope. And the game I've been playing on that one is a game that I've mentioned a few times on previous pods. I have been plugging my way through Grand Theft Auto 4.
Underrated.
It's a great game.
Do I say that every time?
Maybe, I don't know.
Do I say that every time? It's underrated.
It is. I think overall, as far as like the Grand Theft Auto games, like that one gets like cast aside for some reason. I know why. Like people think the driving mechanics aren't as good. Like people like aren't into like
more realistic.
Yeah, and I'm okay with it. Like I don't mind it. And I've been having a lot of fun with that one. But the reason. Various reasons, but anyways, one of the main reasons I haven't beat it yet is, and I've got like maybe 6 missions left of this game.
Because you want to go bowling with your cousin one last time?
No, I don't do that shit. That stuff, I still avoid that stuff. We did talk about that in a different pod, where it's like, no, I'm not going to try and do that and try to do some other shit. But
why don't you call me?
What does happen
like,
is,
God, it's the Sims.
And I've been doing this on the Steam Deck, and I was able to like, because it's all on the Steam stuff, like I was able to pick up my save file just seamlessly. It was ready to go. That's been really nice. And now I can play it on my couch instead of my machine over here.
Sure, that's cool.
It is cool, but the thing that drives me nuts about this game, and the reason that I haven't beat it yet, is that you'll be playing a mission and you will end up dying or failing because the most arbitrary weird thing happened. For instance, a good example, I don't remember the name of the mission, but basically I was chasing this car, and you had to retrieve this package for some mob boss that he was trying to.
Sounds very Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like, so the car you're chasing always crashes, and then you're supposed to get out and take down the enemies and steal the thing back, right? I don't know, man. I don't know what the heck was going on with the game, but like the car crashed, and then there was like the package destroyed. It's like the car's supposed to crash. Mm-hmm. Like I was just too close to the car when it crashed, and then it's like I killed them, because if you kill them on the way, they're like, you destroyed the package.
Sure.
So it's like, what? So like I had to read and do it. And the reason that this is a problem is that you have to go back to your last save, or even if you don't, even if you just start from the hospital or whatever, in Grand Theft Auto 4, it gives you, I think they give you a retry the mission thing.
Sure.
But it starts you off at your last save, which means you have to drive 5 minutes to wherever that mission started. And then that mission started, so you have to drive 5 minutes to wherever they have you going. Then you have to replay everything. And I had to do that like 4 times, and I was like, I can't do it.
Some game breakers. But what really matters is, do you have that nice apartment where you walk down the street and it's like the Lamborghini Ferrari shop, and then you go to the top floor and steal the Lamborghini from that window?
So I haven't tried this yet. I'm going to do this now.
It's like, that's the first thing I think of when I think of Grand Theft Auto 4, is just walking over there. Mm-hmm. Breaking into the car on the top, and then jumping off that little jump and going right into traffic.
But I'm real close. And I think by the next pod I can finally say that I've ticked that one off the list.
I've played everything in the like recently. I played 5 for the first time.
You finished it though?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you did.
Very hot take. Probably one of my lesser favorite Grand Theft Autos. So,
Right on. To my understanding, people really love the online for that.
Yeah, so I never did any of the online.
You go trim your lawn and make sure things are good and that kind of shit.
Make sure you're not not fretting with the HOA. But yeah, no, it's like I was never as big on 5 as I thought like I should have. I might have missed the zeitgeist there on that one a bit. It was fun, but like, I mean, it's one of those things where it's kind of unfair. It's like I played San Andreas in middle school and 4 in high school, so like you're always gonna have slightly fonder memories of those games, like playing with your buddies and passing it around versus me just playing after work 5.
Word. Yeah, and of course there's always a couple other games, but those are the main ones that I've been getting in there. So thanks everybody. Thanks for sitting through another Low 5 gaming pod with us. It's been enjoyable. Definitely love that, Kirby. Would love to hear what you're playing. Hit up our other episodes. If you made it this far, please give us a little rating on whatever you're listening on. If you're on Spotify, give us a rating there. If you're on Apple Podcasts, that'd be awesome if you gave us a little rating there. I don't know. If your podcatcher allows it, please rate us. That'd be dope.
Pew, pew, pew.
All right. Till next time.
Nice. Like DJ Alex. Welcome to Z70 Suit FM.
Cool, man. Is that a wrap?
Yeah, no, that's good.
That's a wrap.
All right.
Till next time, y'all. Peace.
That's my Kirby noise.